Greetings and welcome to a Minecraft tutorial video on Immersive Petroleum in the DeceasedCraft Modpack. I am Zhi'al, the Arcane Dragon, and I will guide you through the getting started with the crude oil extraction process. This tutorial is presented by request, and I hope you find it informative and entertaining. With those introductions out of the way, let's get started. We seem to have an audience already forming in the studio. They seem to be quiet, behave, so we'll take care of that. Fortunately, we are quite a ways. We just had a board night, so we have 13 days to the next one, so we have plenty of time to get our oil extraction structures built and working. And what I've found here is a location that I've protected, marked off, surrounded with fences to keep the audience members at bay. And I have located using the seismic survey tool, which is this item here. Use it, place it on the ground, and basically put buckshot in it, and right click it, it goes off, right click again to get the spent piece, and our survey result is here, an empty shell. Put that back in there for right now. Remove this. So we'll put that up. And I've already made one, but just so you, this actually is already I've found it prior. I actually took the shot a little bit further to the south there. But what it gives you is, if you're not over a reservoir, it will give you a map showing the reservoir, any reservoirs nearby within a 4x4 chunk radius around this, or not radius, 2x2 chunk radius around the center, but a 4x4 chunk radius, 4x4 chunk area, sorry. And zombies do not help. Alright. The map is oriented always to the red arrow pointing to the north. In this case, we are pointing north. The grid lines are based on the center of where you place the seismic survey tool and go for 2 chunks in each direction on the map. Those grid lines are not tied to the Minecraft grid line borders. They are chunk sized on the map, but they are centered wherever you place. The map is centered wherever you place the seismic survey tool, so it will not automatically correspond to actual chunk borders unless you put the seismic survey tool in a corner, such as right here, which is actually what I did. I placed it over here at this chunk corner when I took it, and I discovered there's actually a reservoir just to the north, which is about where this block is right here. So now there are 3 different types of reservoirs you can find in Immersive Petroleum. They are water, lava, and crude oil. You can have any one of those 3. They're random sizes. They always appear as the same white blobs on the map. The map without any reservoirs underneath it is just a gradient of black in the center going out towards white at the edges. That's the nature of echolocation underground using a seismic survey tool. So it is close to how you would expect it to work in real life. But once you find a blob and you want to actually get information about the specific reservoir, then you place another seismic survey tool down, there's the weather here, and take another shot. And you'll end up with another survey result, but this time there won't be a map. As you can see, there is no map on this one, but it does give you the result, in this case, we find out that the reservoir that on this map is actually crude oil, and the amount is around 16,000 buckets of oil. Expected pressure, which is what it will have when you first tap the reservoir, will be around 2 buckets per tick. Something to remember is a lot of oil comes out in the pressure phase, and I'll get into that in a moment. So I have the spot picked where I'm going to have the wellhead. I'm going to turn off the grid, and we're going to get started in setting up and building the first part of the oil extraction process, which is the derrick. Now, if we look at our Immersive Engineering book, I'm going to need 2 things here. I'll get to both of them. Obviously, you go to your engineer's manual, and it has some section on oil processing and all the machines and other items involved in the oil processing. The first thing that you're going to want to start with when you are going to pump oil or strike oil is a derrick. You have to drill for oil. And this has to be placed and run, and it will drill the well down to the reservoir, and it will begin the oil process. One moment, please. Please be quiet. There's going to be a lot of that in this video, so I apologize in advance, but this is just these craft and zombies constantly spawn in. So, getting back to the derrick. So what we're going to do, we have to place the derrick over the wellhead. And to do that, there's another object or item you can create, a tool called a projector. In this case, I have it set to mixer, but what you do is crouch, right click. It changes it to selection mode or projection mode. In this case, we want selection mode. And now if we right click it again, we get a GUI, which allows us to pick a machine, a multi-block machine, and we can actually search for one too, but there's only a few in here. It is a pretty good number, but what we want is the derrick. And if we select it by confirming, now we can go, and it automatically puts it in projection mode after you select it. So the next step is if you point at the ground, you can see the derrick appear as a ghostly, flashing ghostly outline. This allows you to, it's a build aid, allows you to build the multi-block, but we haven't set it yet. This is in placement mode. So what I want to do, first, the derrick positioning is important because the derrick is a 5x5 structure by around 20 blocks tall. And it has to be placed with its center of the 5x5 base over the spot where that's going to become the wellhead. In this case, it will be the stone block that I have there. Don't worry about it if there's any torches or anything in the way. This is just a projection. You'll have to remove them, of course, when you start placing blocks. But once you get the position set, as you can see, you can move it forward and back. In this case, it'd be 1, 2. So we're going to place it right here. Right click. And now we have a base. Now the projector has to be on your hotbar. If you take it off your hotbar, it goes away. It doesn't have to be this currently selected item, as you can see, but it has to be on your hotbar. So what we'll do is we're actually going to take our remote off, put it over here. We don't need these. I'll keep the book on hand. Take these out. I'm going to keep the crude oil survey result. I don't need the map. And now I need to get some blocks. Now I have the derrick is, nope. There you go. Is that the derrick? I don't believe so. I believe it's here. Yes, it's the derrick. All right. The shulker box here has the contents for the materials I need for the derrick. One of the problems with this period of time in DeceasedCraft is it is constantly raining, so there'll be a lot of clearing the weather as long as killing the zombies that show up. So 31 steel scaffolding, 8 light engineering blocks, 2 heavy engineering blocks, 119 steel fence, 1 redstone engineering block, 20 steel scaffolding slabs, and 15 fluid pipes, which you can verify by looking at your manual. Hovering over the question mark, 31, 8, 2, 119, 1, 20, and 15. So we have everything we need. Let's take everything out. So we have our components so we can begin building. Before we get started, an unruly audience member who will not obey, forced to obey. Alright, there's actually one other thing I want to point out. The Derrick can be rotated. In this case, I've already set the rotation correctly, so I want the output, where this pipe is, will be the output, because this will be the area where I'll have the tank farm, which I'll get into shortly. But the backside will be where power is connected, and there will be a redstone control block on here as well. But this is set up correctly. So we can get started building it. I'm going to put down the blocks for, and you can, from the look of the blocks, they are steel scaffolding, which is, in this case, this one uses both steel scaffolding and steel scaffolding slabs. You have to look closely because it's sometimes very hard to tell the difference between a slab and a full block of scaffolding. So what we're going to do is go ahead and start filling these in. I may speed this up. Alright, and the light engineering blocks go in. This will speed up as I... Alright, that was the top of the wellhead block, so this will be the center. The heavy engineering blocks go in the middle, and there actually will be another one on top of that, but I'll wait till it shows up. We're going to need access to pipe, so I'm going to put that in first. You need 3 pipes. Now, if you place the wrong block in, it doesn't tell you, there's no indication if it's wrong, and it will continue. For example, this is another pipe, but if I place a scaffolding, it goes ahead and continues to the next layer, but that's not correct. And I know it's not correct because take it back out, you can still see it's a pipe. But if I put the correct one in, it also will go. The issue is it won't show you what is wrong. And in some of the other equipment builds, such as the coker, which is a very large and complex build, you can run into problems where you build it, you think you did it right, and it showed you everything, but it will not form when you hit it with the engineer's hammer. So you have to go back and locate the incorrect block out of probably hundreds to 1,000 blocks. So just bear that in mind, that it does not tell you in any way that you put the wrong block in. You just have to watch very carefully as you're placing the blocks. And that is also a heavy engineering block, which is the collar for the drill pipe that's going to be going down into the well. And then we have another light engineering block and 3 other light engineering blocks there. And now we have our redstone engineering block that goes in, and our scaffolding. Now we're going to need a lot of fence. I'm going to go ahead and put the other steel scaffolding in. I'm going to reorganize my hotbar here. Actually put these, there we go. Alright, so you have to use steel fence, not corrugated fence and iron fence. A lot of the metal fences in the mod pack are they look very much the same. And pardon me for a second. I wouldn't normally mind building in the rain, but it's a little difficult to hear, and it can be distracting for some people, so I'll get rid of it. But if we continue up, as you can see, as we fill in each level of the schematic, it will actually rise. It'll show the next layer in ghostly form. Another skill scaffolding, and now we're into the drill pipes. They're going to go up. There'll be drill pipes going up as tall as possible. I'm going to jump over here into scaffolding because this will be the next level. In this case, we'll be putting in a steel fence. I have gone very far in the perk tree, so I have good reach. A little bit more than I can in this case. Once I get up a little bit, I'll be able to reach over. So I fill this in. And that was going to happen a few times, I'm sure. Let's just go ahead and put everything in here. Oop, that was wrong. A little hard. The fences are a little finicky. And put that in. Go ahead and just do this down here. It's just easier. All right. Alright. Apologize for that little distraction. And the next layer, putting more fence in. There we go. Now I can reach. Alright, next layer, more fence and more scaffolding. The scaffolding serves as, once the multi-block forms, it'll have basically a ladder up. So you'll be able to see, or be able to get to the top of the derrick. It's very immersive. Aha. Alright, next layer, more scaffolding, more fence, another row of fence all the way, or not a row, or a ring of fence all the way around. Keep going. I think we have an otter in the train system. Little squeaks. Little friend. I use an otter as one of my train conductors, and they're kind of fun. I should do a video on the train system at some point. That'll be for a future request. Alright, at this layer, we have to be careful. This side will be a full scaffolding block, but these, and if you can see, these are only slabs. So in this case, there'll be a pipe in the middle. I'm going to put that in. Now we need to switch to scaffolding slabs on this side and all the way around the pipe. Oop. And that's another problem with slabs. You will have it where they'll go to the bottom, not to the top. Need to be on the bottom of the top in this case. Top of the block. Alright. Getting close. On there. Just wherever you see flashing, you haven't filled in yet. And two more. Alright, I need to put in there. Also, I'm going to get back the ones I messed up. And more weather. Alright, back to the fence. In the corners, it is a tower. Need more fence. I have plenty more fence. Yeah, we have a lot of fence in this build. Alright, next layer. Fence and pipe. And one scaffolding. So there's a pipe. You have to go around to the back side where this spine of scaffolding we came up with. It continues up to the next inner layer. So we have one scaffolding there. And some fence. Get up top here. There we go. Next layer, more scaffolding. More fence. And a pipe. We should be out of pipe soon. I'm going to go ahead and do the fence first. It's a little easier to... Next layer, fence, and pipe. I'll put the next one layer in. Let's do the fence first. Always do the pipe last, as the pipe will block you from getting to the fence on the other side, potentially. Always make it easy on yourself when putting down fence. Alright, and we're pretty much at the top here. Now what we'll have is put the last 4 slabs in. 4, 1, 2, 3, and then the 2 slabs go here, here, and finally, to put in the fence at the top. Be one more layer that goes all the way around. Somebody's stomach's growling. Oh. Alright, now we're out of materials, as you can see. We're ready to go down the... You can climb down the scaffolding. You can climb down the fence too. Well, in theory. Let's say the scaffolding over here. Oh, got somebody down here. You can go away. You can go away, and all of you. There we go. Flies are keeping them busy, but it takes too long for the flies. Alright. So we don't need the projector anymore. We've got everything. I need to get my hammer out of the toolbox. Immersive Engineering has an engineer's toolbox, which has a place for wire, connectors, and tools, and some snacks. So in this case, we need the hammer. And we need to go, and I believe the block that we need to hit is this one over here. This should bring the Derrick multi-block into being, combining all the blocks. So right click it. Boom! There we go. Now we have one Derrick. This is our Oil Derrick. Standard mod convention, for many mods anyway, not all, but you'll have blue connectors as inputs. You'll have orange connectors as outputs. You'll have red connectors, the dots, as redstone controls. And this, even though this is technically an input, the orange dot here just means it's copper for a cable. So this is where the power will come in. Those are the 4 connections to this, to the Oil Derrick. The Oil Derrick has several operational phases, but one of the inputs that it needs, actually there's 2 inputs for it, and one in the GUI. You right click it and you get the GUI. The config lets you, I believe this can actually change the location of the wellhead, but we're not going to change it. I want the wellhead to be in the center where I placed it. So we close it. I believe that's the set. Generally, I don't bother with the config. But it will need an input tank, 8 buckets worth. And you will put pipes, which are the same pipes that are used in construction, in here, and it will put them in the ground, but during the second phase it'll pull them back out, so you'll recover your drilling pipes. But what it needs is a supply of both concrete and water. During the first phase of drilling, the well takes concrete, which we'll supply over here with a mixer that I'll put in shortly. And during the second phase, it will take water. And since we already have water with the concrete, we'll just run the pipe in to the side. And when the concrete runs out, it won't, the tank, when the concrete runs out, you don't have to take the concrete out. It will only use as much concrete as it needs, and then it will be empty. And then at that point, it will not accept any more concrete. There may still be concrete in the pipes, but you can essentially just break the pipe and connect the water pipes to it, and then it will fill. The tank will fill with water, and the drilling will continue. So now on with the output. This is the most important part. People don't realize you don't just build a derrick and fire it up. It's not that type of situation. When you first drill a well, an oil well, and in real life this is the case too, there's a great deal of pressure on the reservoir. So when you tap the reservoir, oil comes up under pressure, and it will come up the drill pipe and blow up through the top of the oil drill rig, the derrick itself, and you'll have oil spewing everywhere. Now, fortunately, this doesn't do the full simulation of covering the ground with oil, so I don't have to worry about that. But it will waste any oil comes out. You'll see black oil particles here in the middle, and while it's doing that, all the oil that is coming up that it doesn't have anywhere to go will be wasted, and it will not be able to be captured. And with that map, it says the expected pressure is around 2 buckets per tick. So 2 whole buckets per 1/20th of a second. So every second you're losing about 40 buckets of oil. It goes fast, very fast. Now the pressure goes down over time, but initially it will be 2 buckets. So what you must have before you even get started on actual pumping the oil, you must have tanks for it. Now there's 2 different tanks in this mod pack, and this particular mod, Immersive Engineering. There's a regular tank. Let's go back. I believe it's under instruction tools. Forget where might be under heavy. There is another tank. It's a 3x3 tank. Let's go back to. Doesn't have a search function, unfortunately. Anyway, go back to oil processing. There are 2 tanks that you can use. The one you want is under oil processing, the oil tank. Now this is a 5x5x4 multi-block, and it holds 1,024 buckets of liquid, and it is auto leveling, which means if you place 2 of them side by side, they have ports on the side which match ports on the side of an adjacent one, so that the inputs will match outputs, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and prepare to place. And you can use the projector for this. I'm pretty proficient at building these, but I'll do this as a demonstration. Let me go back to selection mode and pick an oil tank. Select it, and let's see, it puts me in projection mode. Now to know the orientation, you can look at where you see the scaffolding up there on the left where the zombies are. That is the back side, so it's actually facing, the front side is facing towards the right, or in this case the north. So what we want to change is to have it facing us. We go back in the selection mode, right click, and we're going to rotate it clockwise so it's facing east. Don't escape out, confirm. Weather go away, zombies go away, everything go away. Now, alright, so now we have it, and you can see the scaffolding is now in the backside. Now we place the projection down so we can see it. And I'll have to get rid of the torches. This is where the corners will go. And each tank, there we go. Each tank will have these resources. So 18 steel fence, 62 iron sheet metal, 2 steel scaffolding, 2 steel scaffolding slabs. And we can go ahead and take those for now. These are extras. You will need, and I'll need to explain this. With the pressure phase lasts for a while. And let me do something real quick here. Music's a little loud. Take it down a little bit. I don't mind the music, it's just difficult to talk over. So what we'll need to do is, when you have the pressure phase of the derrick, the drilling process, the oil will come out at 2 buckets per tick, and it will come out for a while under pressure. And once the pressure phase is over, you'll be done with the derrick, and you'll need to switch this structure out for the Pumpjack. But during the pressure phase, it's like, well, how much oil is going to actually come out? How much am I going to have to deal with? This reservoir can hold, or has in it, 16,000 buckets of oil. So if you want to know how much is in there, typically in real life, 40 to 80% of the liquid part of a crude oil reservoir is under pressure, and that's how much will come out. In the mod pack, it simulates that, but I don't believe it goes above 50%. I have not verified this number, and I can't seem to verify any documentation online. There may be someone somewhere who's discovered exactly what it is in a video, but I haven't found it. I'm not going to look at the source code at this point, but I guesstimate from experience with previous wells, it's up to 50% of the well. So you can imagine with this well, that'll be 8,000 buckets of crude oil. That means you would have to have, because each one of these tanks in the building is 1,024 buckets. So you're going to need 8 of them, at least, to be able to handle the pressure phase of this well. Now, it may be less, but in my experience, that's probably pretty close. I'm going to build 10 of them, but you'll have to decide how much based on the size of the reservoirs you find. What we're going to do is I'll take my toolbox off. I need to do a little movement here. Going to be there's not much scaffolding involved. Most of it, the steel fence is on the bottom and on the top. So let's go ahead and get building here. Let's get these 4 in first. Right there. And then we need to put in the sheet metal for the actual tank itself. Yep, there's our next layer, and it's hollow in the middle, 3x3 hollow, and of course, a little finicky placing these on the top of the fence posts. Alright, there's not done with the layer yet. The scaffolding on the back is for climbing up. And I'll go ahead and place this one, and the slabs, half blocks, go on each side of the top scaffolding. And you can tell, this is a little bit easier to tell. You can see this is a half. It goes on each side. And now we put in the top, which is pretty much just fill it in completely. Extra there. I'll have to recover that. I have my pack magnet on just to make sure I don't lose anything. I also have a bobble magnet as well. Alright, now we get to the top, and the rest of it's just fence around the outside of the top. Alright, now that that's done, will eventually be a little climbing area. I've tried to make sure there's enough space because there are ports on this side if I want to access them. Alright, now to build this multi-block, I am going to go ahead and you right-click the middle block of the tank on the front side with the hammer, and you, bang, get a tank. So, as I mentioned, there are several ports. There's 2 ports on each side for inputs and outputs. You can reconfigure these to either input or output. This is input, that's output, blue, orange. On the other side, it's reversed in terms of the position, so that when you put the next tank over, this will be an output, and there'll be an input on the tank you put next to it, and vice versa in the back. That's why these tanks are auto-leveling. If you put them adjacent to one another, no space in between, they will act as one big tank. So this whole row of tanks, when I'm finished, will be 5,120 buckets of oil. And this will be 5,120 buckets of oil, and I'll connect those via pipes later. There's no way to do it other than a line. There's no ports on the back. There's also a port on the top. I actually get on the ladder. This doesn't, I don't believe this is, I don't think that's not a redstone control because there's no block there. It's just a decorative spot. This port is input only. You cannot pump out of it, and you can't reconfigure it with the hammer. And there is a port underneath that I believe is input or output, but you can't configure it. I believe it could be just an output. It doesn't when you go underneath and look. An actual shovel, so this doesn't take 20 minutes to dig in sand. One more. As you can see, there's a port there, so you can connect potentially an output if you need. Let's have some sand, so put that back for now. Yay, sand. Alright, so that's one tank. Now, to be able to finish this, I'm going to speed run it here real quick and put these other blocks in. I won't be using the projector. I've built these so many times that it's do it in my sleep. Okay, we're back. And I have gone ahead and placed the block for the rest of the tanks. You can place them again side by side. You don't have to worry. The multi-blocks are smart enough to know by checking apparently an internal schematic to make sure what the multi-block is. But they can be next to each other. They can be connected in the back. I went ahead and I'm going to arrange these so that the rest of these are facing this way. There's a bat there. Silly bat. Alright. So, we've got them all placed. It's time to turn them all into tanks. So, without further ado, ready, set, boop. And a boop. And a boop. Boop. Boop the snoot. Boop. Boop the tank snoot. And another boop. Another boop. And one more boop. And we have bam. 10 tanks. And you see you have the scaffolding so you get up on top if you need to. Alright. Hop over. Parkour sometimes is useful, sometimes is not. Alright, so now we've got the tanks. I try to leave at least 2 space. I probably should have did 3, but I had some constraints based on where I wanted to place the Oil Derrick and where I laid out this actual fence here. I just got through when I built these. There was a massive electrical storm, and for some reason the blood moon I thought was over, but I guess it just got started. Yeah, we had a blood moon. Yep. Alright. So now we got our tanks. Now it's time to connect them. So we need to get some pipe. Oh, surprise. Shock. Now I said you will need fluid pipe. The same pipe I'm using here. Now there are other pipes in the game. I typically choose to use the pipes mod pipes. Because you got item pipes, fluid pipes, energy pipes, and universal pipes, which combine all 3, which I don't have here. The energy pipes are very useful. I may end up using those at some point, but for this, I may end up using those for later demonstrations. But for this tutorial, I'm going to stick with the Immersive Engineering, because there'll be some connections. There's also an issue I'll get to about powering all this, and that's going to be a serious concern. So what we're going to do is I'm going to run the output. I'm going to take it up. There's no issue with going up. I'm going to run it into the top because this is an input only. I can't get to the sides, and without being 100% sure I can do the rest, without being 100% sure that I can put input on the bottom, I'm going to put it on the top. So here we go. These tanks come with a indicator on the front. It's a little hard to see when it's full. It's sort of kind of a dark greenish gray right now. Could also because of the lighting, but it's sort of a gray. But when crude oil fills, it'll be black because crude oil, the liquid's black. If you put other liquids in them, it'll be the color of the liquid, mostly. Well, there are some cases not. Alright, so the next step I have is to go ahead and build the mixer and water for the concrete. So what we're going to do is go here to the bits. Always the last one I check. Alright, that's some extra steel fence. I'm going to put away for a minute. I'm going to need the mixer. The mixer is 5 steel scaffolding, 400 sheet metal, 3 fluid pipe, redstone engineering block, light engineering block, steel fence. And this is the ingredients for hopefully 128 buckets of concrete. If not, I can go get some more. So let's go to our engineer's manual, and we'll go back to the mixer, which is actually in the heavy machinery area. There's our mixer. There's our materials. 544113, which I believe is all correct. So, pardon that. Okay, so let's go ahead and build our mixer. We'll use the projector for this. I know pretty much I'll be able to all install this. The only ones I really have difficulty with are like the tall Derrick, anything that has just many layers or very complicated mix of blocks. The cokers, you have to use the projector. I'm sorry. Now going through, looking through the engineering manual and trying to guess and manipulate it, well, you will go crazy. So anyway, so I'm going to place down. I'm going to pick the mixer. Oops. Selection mode. You might have to crouch right click a couple of times to actually get it in the correct mode. And let's see. Got that. Oh, that's still a tank. Go back to section selection. Okay. Mixer. There we go. Now, I'm not sure which way. I want to probably face it north-south, so I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise so it faces... I might need to face it south. And there we go. Oops. I did the thing. You escape out of it, it does not select it. South. Confirm. Now, that's the correct one. That looks correct. The redstone engineering block on the mixer where you place a switch to turn it on and off is in the front, and that's where it's facing me. So I want it facing this direction because that's also where the output is. I'm going to face it, put the 3-block separation so I have room for the pipes. So about right there looks good. Yes, that looks good. Okay. So I'll just place everything. I'm going to need to have my steel scaffolding in hand. The fluid pipes extra. Let's put the redstone block in last. Alright. Scaffolding is only on the bottom. 3 there. 3 pipes go here. That's all you have. Turn the pipe. 1 engineering block, light engineering block there. Next layer appears. 2 light engineering blocks here. Your redstone engineering block goes here. And now we put in the 4 iron sheet metal which form the tub of the mixer there. Next layer appears. The only thing up here is the light engineering block and the steel fence. Has to be steel fence. No, and no others, except no substitutes. Alright. Now, this was extra fluid pipe I had on hand. Alright, so the projector is no longer needed. I've got my hammer. To activate, it's the middle block in this case. Boom. There we go. 1 mixer. And the same output here. Redstone control here. This is material input. The item inputs typically are plugged looking holes. This is liquid input. This is where our water is going to come in. And on top of here, the front, you can see this is the power dot. Not an input. This is, I mean, not an output. This is an input. Even though it looks orange, it's actually a copper color, so it's slightly different. And see our mixer bin. I'll jump in. I'll get all mixed up. Anyway. Alright, since these are connected straight up, I'm going to put a pipe in here. And we're using the Immersive Engineering fluid pipes. You can use Create. There's some situations where they don't work. And I discovered that here. But we're going to proceed using them in this tutorial. And if you just want to, you don't have to. I believe the defaults are the machines run, but you can put your levers on the redstone. port, and it lets you turn them on and off, which is probably useful when they potentially could use power. They usually don't if there's nothing to process. I'll leave this way because we can just hop right over it. It saves pipes that way. All right. Now the mixer requires, to make concrete anyway, requires water. Fortunately, we have a lot of water. A lot of water zombies. Eesh. Really? I don't think I can hit it because of the fence. Alright, I'll have to get rid of them in a minute. Alright, so what I'm going to do to supply water, there's not really an easy way in Immersive Engineering to do that. So I'm going to go here and get some create fluid pipe, fluid tank, some pumps, some gears, cogs, a few shafts, and something I'll get into in a minute. Windmill sails, a windmill bearing, some gearboxes in case I need to switch around, a birch plank for a windmill hub, and I got more fluid pipe, but I don't think I'll need that right now. In fact, I'm going to move that to the other. I'll make sure I have a full stack. As long as I have 2 stacks left for doing the drilling. I don't know if I need all of it, but it'll use up quite a bit of it. Alright, so now what I need to do is figure out how I'm going to get water over here. I'm going to run it underground, so that means I'm going to use a shovel instead of my fists. Put the sand on the block, on the bar to fill this in. I'm going to have to go out. Fly can go away. He's a good guy. He helps get rid of zombies. Slowly, at his own pace. Alright, so I'll have water come up here. I may montage this. I'm going to put the pipe in. Do that. There we go. Okay, now I need to go outside where the zombies are. See if I can do this correctly. Yay! Did it. You may go away. You may go away. You may go away. Alright. So now what we're going to do, I need to get my stone brick blocks. Help build a little jetty out here. I'm going to place the pumps. Now, placement of these is a little finicky. Need to make sure that the arrow, funny, wrong way. Something is swimming. There we go. Oh, it did the same way. Alright, that's alright. In our toolbox, we have the correct wrench, which is this one right here. Now you can easily turn this around. Oop. Not while you're clicking, or crouching, sorry. We have my back. My mechanical pump for water. Don't crouch. There we go. Water goes up out of there. And that's the orientation right above a water source. And enough water sources around it, it should not be too fast to deplete. And then what I'm going to do is immediately put it into a big old tank. Great tanks, you can put it pretty much however you want. They connect together, so if I have a big old tank here, then when I turn that on, I'll have quite a bit of water coming out. Now tanks don't automatically push water out, so I need to put in a pump. Nope, I don't want it in. Want it out. And then I want the fluid pipe. I probably, I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to put the Fluid pipe. Don't need those right now. We're going to put it... you know what? I didn't have this planned exactly out before I got in here. I probably should have, but it's okay. I wanted to have it so that the water source was away. I could do it diagonally, which I think I will. So we'll put this one over here. It's the wrong way, so you turn it around. I'm sorry, that was the correct way. Yeah, guys. And I walk on water due to one of the baubles is a lily pad. Okay, put that there. We have that. We'll put that there. Oh, yay, did it right. Okay. Fortunately, it does not matter which way these are set up. They won't connect here. But what I mean is, when you put a cog or whatever, it doesn't matter which way these turn. Pumps only work one way. I'll put a cog there so I can turn them both. And then finally, I need to put a cog on one side or the other, probably this side. And I'm going to put some shafts up there. That is a cog, not shaft. Shaft, shaft. And we're going to have to get up higher, so we have a block. Build a windmill up here. To power this, I need to put a gearbox, a vertical gearbox in. These are horizontal gearboxes, but as you probably discovered, you can put a horizontal and it'll convert to vertical and vice versa. I'm going to put this so the windmill faces out. Probably need to put it up one higher. I can build a pretty big windmill. Back up a little bit. There we go. Add our windmill bearing. This is going to be a little dicey. I'm going to put in a temp block. You guys are not helping in the least. Okay. Windmill bearing. I'm going to try to get in the way. There we go. I want it facing out. It doesn't matter in this case which way it turns because the pumps don't care. As long as it's set up to turn at all, should be fine. And there's my hub for my sails. I've got 64 sails, but I don't think I'll make it that big. It probably needs for this pump. Yep, not that way. Use an X. This, I don't need that right now. They usually get broken pretty quickly. I'm going to build a vertical sail. Windmills do not care exactly how they're built. They can be just as long as they're connected like that. This probably will be a very annoying thing to set up. Let's, I'll remove the blocks after I'm done. So difficult. Exact positioning of these sails. There we go, that's what I'm after. These guys are so noisy. I guess that's intentional to make you want to kill them. Okay. Once we get, the nice thing is once we get the first block place, the rest of the blocks are easy to, or the sails are easy to place, as you can see. Put it there. I want to continue up, 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 out. And I can do it anywhere where it has this, well, out. And out, so I have 4 on each side. Out, 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 If you want to get fancy and make it look a little more realistic, you can put a view up here like this. Do these to match. This will be down. This is way more than needed for this pump, but fun. Right, and this will be out, so 1, 2, 3. This may be a little bit problematic. Need to be on the front so I can see the sail. So I can get the arrow. 2, 3. So, yep, there we go. One big windmill. Extra blocks go away. Now we're ready. We can start pumping. So just right click. Oh, there we go. So that's what water should be filling the tank up. Now, one of the things I wanted to demonstrate, I did not put it in. Water goes in, water goes out. Is I have a speed controller. I'm going to go ahead and show you basically, when you have one of these are very nice. You notice how slow this windmill turns. It's just very slow. So what I could do, and this could get a little weird here, is I can take this out and instead we can put a speed controller in and say, well, what is a speed controller? Well, it turns this rotation speed into a different rotation speed. But unfortunately, the way it does that is by using a large cog on top. You just need to right click. You see the cog is already there. It only goes in that one spot. So you have no choice. You can't put it on the side or anything. And it can turn much faster. You can change the speed. Click it with a right click, and you can pick it up to 256 times the speed. In this case, we'll set it at 32. That looks pretty good. I got a little problem though. I got to get that down here, but I can do that. All I need is another vertical gearbox. Actually, I have a vertical gearbox that I made, but I'll probably need 2 of them. And one facing this way. And we'll bypass it. Go around. And we'll put another vertical gearbox. And 2 more. Go around it. See, let's turn them all vertical. There we go. Don't need any more shafts. Put it here. And that one goes here. Now we have a lot of speed. And we can turn it up as high as we want. I believe it does convert speed from torque, so the loading may be a little different. I'm not 100% sure on that, but you'll know. If you put too much load on it, it will stop. So, because what you're doing is you're turning something that's medium torque. I believe if you look at if you check out, not the shaft, but the windmill bearing, it doesn't show it on the one probe, but it will be medium, I believe. It's something medium torque and slow speed to something that's probably still medium up to a certain point, much higher speed. Now we got lots of water. I'm going to leave that there. Zombies can't get on it. I need to put in their pipe. Pump. Under. Oh, nice. Eat the water. Flooding. And one more. I have to get in the water to put this last one in. Boom. Okay. So now we have a tank. It's filled with water, or filling with water. it's pumping it out and into our mixer. So it should have, yes, and the water is filling pretty good, up to almost full. And the output, of course, when you set it in the mixer, output only bottom fluid. It won't matter in this case because the derrick will only take the fluid that it wants at that time. Initially it'll be concrete. So as long as even if you try to output water, the only issue will be if you do that, you may have to break and replace the pipes because the pipes may be full of fluid, assuming they work similarly to, for example, thermal expansion pipes where there's actually fluid stored in the pipe. So, alright, so we got our mixer set up. We have our derrick set up. We're missing one major component. Power. Must have power. So, let's go back to our chest here and see what we got. I'm done with the create wrench for now. Put that up. We'll need this. Probably. And I'm done with the rest of the create items. So I think I have some stuff in here. Extra. Clean that out. Don't need the cogs or the sails, shafts, cogs. I will keep the pipe because I do need to put in some pipe to connect to water directly to the derrick. So I believe levers go back in my keep levers handy. Oh, there's some universal cable, universal pipe of the pipes mod. Yes, you're not going to be able to do anything the way. The katana is OP. Once you enchant the crap out of it, it is 14 hearts. So, okay, that's for the mixer. We'll take that with us. And that's for the Pumpjack. It's extra, that's empty. Extra fence, that's empty. Put the extra fence in here. Okay, I'll need HV accumulators, and I've got my wire in the toolbox. All my wire and insulators and relays. Okay, so like I said, we're going to stick with Immersive Engineering. Because of the pipe layout, the power for the derrick is back here. Power for this is over here. Oop, I'm in the hole. In fact, I'm going to fill this in. No sense having where legless zombies can get in. I will need to run, let's see, I'm going to put that in now. I'm going to put in extra pipe. I'm not going to put the last pipe in because I don't want water to run there yet. So we'll save that for when we're ready to go to the water phase. There's probably a way I can do a valve or something, but I'm not going to bother for this demonstration. Alright, so now back to power. I have 8 high voltage accumulators, and they have 8 million flux in them. So that's 8 million RF. Immersive Engineering machines take IF, but it's essentially automatically converted from RF, so any RF source will work. But I'm going to have to connect these up. What I'm going to do, let me put this shulker box down with the ingredients. I need to find this place to put our power. I'm probably going to... You can build power banks similarly to tanks, but you have to do a little bit of trickery to get it done right so they have inputs and outputs on the sides. So what I'm going to do is I'll place, let's put 2 banks of 4 here. 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my power. 8 mega FE forge energy. All right, so that becomes the problem. Now, there's a little trick. If you're not sure to do the sides, you right-click to change the side. If you crouch right-click, you're changing the opposite side. So let's set it up so that the middle two have. I'm going to have to do this differently. To first do the sides or do the middle parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to have inputs. Actually, these are all going to be outputs anyway. But for balancing purposes, I'm going to basically make a ring where power is going to go around. Actually, I'm not even sure that I should even bother. But yeah, let's just do it. I don't think I'm overthinking this a little bit. I don't need it. Power will be pulled from these anyway, but they all need to be outputs on top. That's where I'm going to connect them. If you change these, any config of sides when you pick them up will be retained. So you don't have to worry about losing it. All right. Now this is high voltage in Immersive Engineering. And in Immersive Engineering, high voltage means that you only have uninsulated wire. You have LV wire, insulated LV wire, MV wire, insulated MV wire, HV wire, and that's it. There's no insulated HV wire. If you say insulated, it's only LV and HV, or excuse me, MV. So with high voltage, you're always working with uninsulated wires. Now, if you've got pretty good armor and full health and so forth, you probably can survive touching the high voltage once, maybe twice if you're lucky. Don't risk it. Be careful placing your high voltage. Now I'm going to use relays, connectors, and HV. So what we're going to do in this case, I'm going to have to put in something I guess you could do if you wanted to. You could use blocks, or you can use fence. Doesn't really matter. I'll put in steel fence over here. Leave a little space. We're making a little power pole. Oop. Not what I wanted to do, but go. Put that there. And we're going to put in a relay over here. It's probably not the best. You need probably one a little bit higher. I'll just do this. We'll just, oh, can't do that with the fence. Okay, I don't need that for right now. Let's put it in too higher. Doesn't really matter. The wires have a good amount of length. So we'll put it up there. Do a relay. The next step is putting in our HV connectors. Once you put these connectors on, I'm not sure if the connectors are dangerous. Not really want to find out, but there's our 8. Now, what we're going to do is you always have to do either from connector to connector or from connector to multiple to a relay. This is the only thing that has a many-to-one relationship with wire in industrial engineering, or excuse me, immersive engineering. Oop, not that. Wire. There, 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 there. That one up. This is probably not the optimal wiring, but this is how I've done it before. So now all we need to do is to put in a pole over here so we can get to our put it over here. I wish you could do these like scaffolding. You just keep going up forever by clicking on the sides, but that won't work. I'm going to put it over here. And we're going to put the relay over here. And we're going to run, we'll have to have a connector. I don't need the X. Connector here. And we'll get down so I don't shock the crap out of myself. There we go, there's one there. And the relay goes from here to here. Boom, there you go. Don't jump. That is live. So now we have that. Should have put it up one higher, but that's okay. I'll do it over here so it's a little bit higher. In this case, we'll put it because it needs, it should reach over there. So we'll put a pole in. Power poles. This is not Factorio. For you Factorio fans out there. Let's see, I'd like to have it a little bit higher. Okay. Have it the same height as this one. Alright, so there we go. Now we can put that in, and I'll put the connector there. And relay, or not relay, a connector. Yeah, connector and a relay there. Alright, now we can connect this to that. And we can connect this over here. And we should have power. A little bit of power, in fact. Check our machines. Yes, we have full power. Yes, we have full power. All right. Now, regarding power consumption, these two machines, this one will take a lot. I believe it takes 128 making concrete. I had to verify that. I'm not sure if the engineering manual talks about power consumption or not. So the mixer, no, it doesn't say. Unfortunately, they don't tell you how much IF is used per operation or how many. It just tells you how much is used, how much you have in storage. There's some online in the wikis. It tells you a certain amount. But anyway, it uses less here. I think you can use either LV or MV with these normally. I'm using high voltage. It doesn't matter how much you connect to machines. Machines don't blow up if you put too much voltage on them. The only thing that blows up in IE is the wiring. If you put too much load on the wrong type of wiring, for example, if I use MV wiring to this, if this was MV or LV, this would explode. The wires would just blow up instantly because you're sending high voltage to a high voltage sink, high voltage sources, high voltage sinks. You put LV or MV wire in between, it's going to be gone. It's also important when you electrify barbed wire. You can razor wire. Sorry, you can electrify razor wire, and if you use the wrong type of wire, the wire will blow up because as the zombies hit the wiring, they create a huge load and it's gone. Now we've used a little bit of our power, I'm sure somewhere. It doesn't say. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it's only storing, what, 16,000. So 32,000 total out of 64 million. You have to have a lot of IF. This one won't take a lot, but this is fully, it'll take 1,024 IF or RF or FE per tick during the drilling phases. So it's going to significantly deplete these batteries. I may have to take these and come back and charge them back up at the base. we're going to do it. Unfortunately, I don't have any power generation here. I could have brought a diesel generator, I suppose, and set it up. That seemed a bit outside the scope, but I believe this should be enough to get through the initial pumping phase till we get to the pump jack. In fact, I may have to move this when I build the pump jack. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll see. Not a big deal if I have to rearrange some things. Let me get rid of these blocks. Do that. Alright. So we are now ready, mostly ready to drill. I'm going to go ahead and put the concrete in. Get it, all the materials for it into the machine. Concrete takes 2 sand, 1 gravel, and 1 clay. So as you see, I'm already making concrete, and this will start taking liquid concrete right off the bat. So we're loading it up. So the only thing that's left to get going, actually it looks like the redstone is set up to, it runs automatically if you want to stop it. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Same thing here. I'm going to turn this off, so I do not want this to start until I'm ready to drill. So we should have everything set up. We have the output hooked to our tank farm. So we should not have a blowout. We could. I might actually break the pipe to show you what happens for just a second. Lose a few buckets of oil just for educational purposes. We'll let that run. Once this is filled up, it'll also fill up the internal buffer here as well. So as it starts using it, it'll make room for more. I think the water is still in there anyway. I don't need this anymore. It's empty. Empty. Let's check make sure. We've got 8 days, so we've already spent 5 days. Yeah. And we got our water source. We got our mixer running. We got our power set up. I think we are ready to drill a well. So let's go ahead and get enough pipe. I'll make sure I have enough here. There's 2 stacks. I'll take a little extra just in case. I don't need the projector right now. Put that away. I'm done with wiring, so I'm going to put my wire away. Put that in there. Put that in there. I'm pretty sure I don't have any. Oh, I got a few in here. I don't need the maggots. Just need the steel fence. Okay, let's put that up. Put that up. And our wire. Such a convenient little storage. And I'm not going to be using the engineer's hammer again right now. So, and you can put that away, but I'm going to leave it on in my basic inventory. I don't need the amount. I've got it here if I need it. 16,000 buckets, pressure, sample take. Okay. And I'll keep the fluid pipe in. You can't use this fluid pipe in the drill, but we'll see. I will say fence. You notice that didn't stack. It's because that's gray corrugated metal plate fence, which is what I put around the border. That cannot be used for building multi-blocks. They look the same, but they're not. Well, you can tell there is a little difference, but if you're not paying attention, you'll accidentally use that in a build like that, and it won't form, and you're like, why? So, all right, we are ready to drill. So I'm going to take in case I did a montage, I'll take a short momentary break and then continue. Okay, we're back. And we're done. We've got our mixer running. It's making concrete for us. Filling our buffer. It's full. It's starting to fill the buffer in here. And I'm outputting, I've got it set to output bottom fluid, which is going to be liquid concrete. Eventually it'll do water. I'm not certain it may actually output water. We'll see. I may not need, I actually have water brought over here if I need to connect it in, but we'll see. So now what we're ready to do, we've got power, we got that's 4 kilo FE output, and I have approximately 64 mega IF or FE or RF, whichever unit you choose. They're all the same in this case. And I think we're ready to drill. We've got our tank farm set up. Outputs going into the tank farm. They're auto leveling because they're side by side. Did not change the ports. Input of one tank hooks the output of the other tank. Both connections, as you can see, it's got 2 connections inside. They match the other side. Both tanks, there's 10 tanks. Both lines of tanks that are connected as outputs via this up here. Pipe goes all the way across, and I think we're ready. Let's do it. The redstone control is off, so if I put the pipes in, it should not begin until I'm ready to go. I do have it configured. I left it the default config. I believe that is center where you're going to be drilling. Path to Derrick. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't know if I have to change that or not. Maybe it's possible that the Derrick can drill horizontally as well. There's not good documentation on the Derrick, but I'm going to set that there. Close. Disabled via controller, which is this. I'm ready to go. Let's drill some pipe. Drill some oil. You see, you turn it on, and it's drilling. And you can hear it replacing blocks below. As you do that, it's putting the fluid pipe down. I can't really, let's see if I can get underneath here and I can show you the pipe, drill pipe. There we go. Block Immersive Petroleum well pipe. And don't break these, otherwise it has to recreate it. This is concrete. It says it puts a pipe in, but it doesn't. Those pipes are only used for drilling, not for actually the well itself. So it's now drilling, replacing blocks all the way down to bedrock. If you got something underneath, like a structure you like, a spawner, a portal, whatever, if there's something down there, it's going to get drilled through until it hits bedrock. According to the manual, anyway. We'll see. It's down 19, 20 blocks now. Running low in concrete. The concrete's not being made fast enough. It doesn't matter. You can turn the missing. It says water. I don't think it's done yet. Let it. Huh. Interesting. I don't hope it's not done. It only drilled down 20 blocks. It's supposed to drill down all the way. Say, missing 32 buckets of water. Well, let's output all fluids. Okay, well, that's going to put water in here. Maybe it'll continue. I'm basically filtering water through here, so I did actually need that pipe, but it'd probably be a little faster if I connected that pipe up. There it goes. It's continuing. So apparently when it runs out of concrete, maybe it's just the wellhead. It's out of water, but the water is still going through the mixer into here. And it's still drilling. The particles are still running. That's not the oil particles, that's the operational particles. So, it needs water. I guess the wellhead only needs is for until it runs out of, initially out of concrete, and then it stops. The drilling still continues all the way down to bedrock. We can verify that later. At 67%, drilling is almost complete. And we should start seeing oil here shortly. %, 76, 77, 78. Now it's possible it only needed enough concrete to go down a little ways. It's just the wellhead concrete, but the drilling will continue further on down. And we're going to run out of fluid pipe here, so I'm going to add some back in. You'll have to take some back out when it starts removing it. I believe it'll do that, or it'll spit it out on the ground. It stopped taking in water, so it looks like we're getting close. I'm going to get ready to remove the fluid pipe as it pulls it back out. As it looks like it used a full stack. 98, 99. Boom. Drilling completed. Have a nice day. According to this, we should be getting oil. And you can see already a sliver of oil in there. I can't really right click the tank to figure out how much. I believe there's a tool I can use, multimeter or something. I can basically click on and it'll tell me how much is in the tank. Unfortunately, what am I looking at? The one probe here is not showing it. That's okay. We're up to 2 bars, and that's across all tanks. You go up and look. All tanks have 2 bars already. We're in the pressure phase, and if I break this, and I'm going to demonstrate this, I'm going to put the pipes on the bar. If you break this, you get, maybe particles are turned off, but right now I'm losing oil. And you put that back on. I don't want to lose oil. But typically, if it can't put the oil somewhere, it sprays out the top of this, and you'll have oil up in the air. This is still the pressure phase. It's still going to be going in here. So I'm going to take a short break, come back, and see how much oil we get in the pressure phase. Just until the pressure phase is completed. Okay, we're back. And it's been about 10 minutes or so, maybe 15 at most. And the tanks, looks like they have stopped. I had kind of a marker in mind of this, top of this. Oh, actually, I believe it may still be going. So I have a few things to talk about. We'll watch it and see if it goes up another notch. We're still in the pressure phase of this well. And I'd like to point out that this is 10 tanks, 10,240 buckets worth of liquid that came from this one well. They're not full. They're probably about 75% full. So you can figure 7.5 tanks at full would be what it takes to handle the pressure phase of this one well, this 16,000 bucket well. So around a little less than half the well has been dumped into the tank so far, just from the pressure. No, I mean, there's power on the Derrick, but it happens even if you don't have power. It's not that there's no pumping involved because the pressure's coming up out of here, out of the well itself. But it hasn't moved much in the last minute or so. I think we're done with the pressure phase. But since this is a demo, one well, there's many oil wells, obviously, or many oil reservoirs you can take. So even if I lose a little bit, I haven't seen the particles, so I believe there's something wrong. It's not set right. I thought I may have particles turned off, but either way, if you see the particles, you pretty much assume that it's not going to be there. And if you assume that even if the particles aren't there, the Derrick is outputting oil, and you can check that obviously by looking at your tanks. So I think we're going to assume that we're done with this phase. So I'm going to go ahead. The oil is done for now. The pressure phase, so the Derrick job is done. It says drilling completed, have a nice day. Pressure phase done. And it'd be nice if it'd tell you, but it does not. So I'm going to assume that we're done. I'm going to leave the pipe. I'm going to get rid of this pipe. We don't need any more water or concrete. I didn't need this underground pipe, but that's fine. I know it's there. The mixer's off. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, I'm going to fill this back in. We can look at stuff later. Verify how far down it went. It goes down a long ways, if I remember correctly. It's back on. I don't need my silk touch pick. I had my ender chest out. Alright, so we had our power. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the power over here. So I may have to move this pole. It just depends on where the pump jack is. Just break this and it'll take both the power. Okay. So what we have here is a Derrick that's in the way of our pump jack. In fact, I think our power's in the way of pump jack too. I need to move it. So now that we're done, it's time to tear it down. Sadly, there's not really much you can do. It's empty. There's no pipe in it. No pipes left. So just go up to the top and start taking it down from the top down. And as soon as I break this one, come on, I need to get up onto the here. There we go. Start disassembling. It turns back into blocks. Of course, when you break one block. May take a little time. Maybe montage this. Oh, gushing. Yeah, we're still in the pressure phase then. All right, that's what gushing looks like. There you go. I do have some fluid pipe here. Fine, we'll put this on. Since you can do that. Lost some oil. Oops. Oh boy, I left one up there. I might be able to reach it. Got it. Hard to see these suckers. There we go. With other similar things in the background. I'll take down my power poles. Don't break the pipe. Break this pipe. Not the rest of them. Okay, let's go down a little bit more. Oh, I did break my power pole. That's alright. Put another one in. I'm not sure exactly what the orientation for the pump jack's going to be just yet. Don't hit. Don't break your tanks. I have reach. It's very easy for me to break the tank. Alright, there's our wellhead. Connected to the pipe. Oh, it's not. Huh. Interesting. Well, if I'm losing oil, I'm losing oil. Oh well. But yes, that's wellhead. So, pump jack. We're going to need our projector back. And we need to set it to selection mode. And we need to find the pump jack. There we go. I'm not sure the orientation. Let's see what we got here. Okay. So as you can't really see it just yet. Pump jack The wellhead is on the right side here. The left side is the counterweight. Pretty sure. Because the wellhead should be under an engineering block, and that's the front of the pump jack. So in this case, it would go here. And that's not where we want. We want to rotate it by one. So, selection mode. We're going to rotate it clockwise. Confirm. There we go. You know, I believe I'm incorrect. I believe the pump wellhead. Oh, it stopped gushing, by the way. And I need to do this. I don't need rain. I don't need water in an oil well. I see a pipe on that side. I believe the pipes have to be on the side. It has to be on the end. So let's rotate it. Selection, that's projection mode. Selection. We're going to rotate it clockwise twice. There we go. I believe that's correct. And it's abutting her. Yep. I believe that's correct. I like to leave a little space for our power. Okay, let's place it there. I'm going to go ahead and move our power. This will, of course, return the wires to me. Okay. And have those back, please. Need fluid pipe. Accumulators. That's the one that actually was spent. I used only a total of 2.4 mega FE during the drilling phase. So that was actually pretty good. All right, let's put our connectors back on. Let's put our wire back on. Let's see. Here to here. Here, 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 here. It looks like the ghostly outline is an overlay. So, okay. I'm pretty sure we have that correct. One thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go deposit our Derrick components, which is all this. And I got 3 fluid pipe. That's all right. We'll put it. All right. Let's see. It's a good spot to put it. Extra 64, 55, and that. I think that's it. All right. We're gonna have some extra pipe handy. And the fence, stay in here. Okay. Now, for a pump jack, 11 steel scaffolding, 2 light engineering blocks, 6 treated wood fence, 1 redstone engineering block, 2 heavy engineering blocks, 2 blocks of steel. It's important. It's not steel sheet metal. It is 2 blocks of steel. This is meant for a counterweight. Or meant for the head, I guess you could say. And 4 fluid pipe. I'm going to temporarily put this extra fluid pipe in there so I don't misdo it here. I'm pretty sure because I thought it might be this side, it's not because there's no block here. It's a scaffolding. It's at the end. You must have it. I'm going to move this pipe. I think there's a scaffolding here. Yes. So there's 4 pipes made in a T pattern. There's our placement there. Scaffolding, 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 scaffolding. These are all full steel scaffolding. One here. Okay. Okay, I need a light engineering block. Next layer is a light engineering block. A heavy engineering block. A redstone block. And fence. Why it uses wood, I don't know, but okay. It uses 3 of these, I believe. Are they heavy? Okay, our first steel. Kind of hard to put that in there because let's put a temporary block there. First block of steel. This you kind of look at it and see it's got the 4 rivets. So your 4 block of steel ship. Oops, 4 rivets. Back here. Okay. And now the part goes across. The steel will go on top. Get rid of our spacer block. These are your 4. You can see the lines for the sheet metal. Get rid of the storm. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think for our last 2 things that we need, not steel fence, wood fence. Yes. It uses wood in construction. I can't say why. Alright. And that is it. We now have our pump jack. I put the pipe over it, but I'm pretty sure it has to be built that way. So let's get our engineering hammer. Then we'll see if it forms correctly. I believe you have to put it there. Yep, there we go. I was wrong. Okay. So it has to go back 1 more, so I'm going to have to move our everything back. So, okay. I'm going to whoop. Okay. The pump jack. Like, don't. Ow. As you can see, burned my feet off. So, fortunately, I'm pretty good. That was pretty much a full set of hearts. I had green hearts. I have a regen on, so I will slowly regen. But that one hit will kill you if you only have red hearts. That took me down below. So that's an instant kill for anything with just 10 hearts. Even with my armor. I do have the biohazard set. That's fully enchanted. Biohazard means no disease and spit, things like that don't affect you. You're essentially in a hazmat suit. Very useful. Alright, so we're set up here. I need to hook the pipe up. We're going to get the fluid pipe. I think that should be enough fluid pipe to run around. I could have rearranged this. There's only the power input on this, the redstone control, 2 outputs, 1 on each side. So you can run either side you want. I'm going to run it over here. There we go. Now we're set. Ready to begin pump jacking. And at this point, we don't have to worry about losing oil. If these all get full, this will stop. So we're ready to start. And let's pump this sucker up. Very slow, but it's okay. And it will be actually much slower than the pressure phase. This is a continuous thing. It does use quite a bit of power. I believe it uses 512 RF per tick. So it does use quite a bit of power. I'm not sure what the rate is output, but you can, kind of watch, see how long it takes to fill your tanks. We still had around 2.5 tanks. 2,500 buckets worth of space. So you can see how long this takes, but I'm pretty sure it'll take a while. My experiences with the pump jacks are relatively slow compared to the pressure phase of the well. So This can take a while. We're done with this. You can, of course, empty out the concrete, let it finish. It looks like it used around a quarter, maybe. A little bit over a quarter, a third of the concrete I had planned, so you don't have to make a whole lot. So, yeah, that's pretty much the whole of the oil extraction process for Immersive Petroleum. In a future video, I'm planning to go over the oil refining process, most likely back at the main base since everything is set up there. At any rate, I hope you found the video informative and interesting. It certainly was a long one for the first one I've done in quite some time. Pumping oil. Alright. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Take care. Bye-bye.